Welcome back. You're watching the ET Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal, and yes, it's Children's Day. Children are fast learners, and while as a parent you make every effort to teach your kids all the right things, perhaps it's time that you start teaching them the value of investing too. You see, in today's day and age, when hundreds of things are fighting for your child's attention, it is imperative that they understand early on the process of identifying financial goals and work towards achieving them. So on Children's Day, we thought of bringing you the best advice, and so we have on board Radhika Gupta, MD and CEO Edelweiss AMC. Radhika, welcome to the ET Money Show, and I think this will be your first Children's Day after the newborn.
Yes, hi there, and wishing all viewers and children watching a happy Children's Day. It is my first Children's Day after
Yeah.
being a mother, so it's a extraordinarily special one.
I'm sure. So, Radhika, right from all the research reports that's coming up from Harvard School or Dr. Gaper's book, everyone say just one thing. Okay, the bottom line just comes down to one thing: hold on to your children, love them, but also discipline them. What's more important according to you, love or discipline? And how
I,
should you how should you act on it?
Firstly, I have to say I'm the worst person to be giving advice because I'm the newest mother, and most people watching have
Yeah.
many more years of experience. I only have a few months, but my hope is that love and discipline can go hand in hand. I think discipline, while it seems difficult in the short term, like many things in the market, it pays off in the long term. So I want to believe that it is a form of love, and I think discipline is not the old school definition of discipline. My mother is an educator, and she always said, listen to your children and they will listen to you. So treat them like adults, have mature conversations with them, and then perhaps discipline will not sound like such a bad word.
So now, since you just mentioned that, and we all know that you're a new mom, what are those phases that you go through? Do you really doubt yourself as to whatever you're trying to do with your child? Is it right or not? Are you giving him the best? Are you doing the right thing? Do you get these kind of questions?
I think everyone does, but early on, after I had delivered, my mother told me, I think, the best piece of advice that I've heard. And she said, no mother in the world, however educated, uneducated, rich, poor, will ever consciously do anything bad for your child, for their child. And I believe that's true. I don't think you would do that out of being a mother. Now, inadvertently, sometimes we don't have enough time, sometimes we make mistakes, but the intent is always so pure and good. So yeah, maybe there are moments of doubt, but one thing I've learned is, and this is my advice for anyone going through this: don't be so harsh on yourself as a mother. The world judges women and mothers already too much. So the least we can do is not judge ourselves. We can't be bad mothers. Mother can't be a bad.
So what kind of a mother you think that 10 years down the line you will be, like a cool mom or a strict mom or a friend mom? What kind of mom?
I hope to be 10% of the mother that my mother was to me, which is a friend mom, a mom who believed in her child's potential more than I did and worked with me to realize her potential. A mom who still spends 1 hour a day talking to me. Mom I can talk to about anything. So I hope to be some percentage of what she was.
Radhika, a lot of times the kind of queries that we get from our viewers, the first important goal of their life is their child's education, and then comes the marriage part. It's very nice that they plan to have an investment portfolio and a goal for the better future of their child. But it's also important that you teach your children about investments. Okay, a lot of us have grown up knowing about saving, but investments, I think, once you start exploring, you get your first job. That's the time when you come across these investment avenues. How, according to you, can a parent, start teaching their kids, maybe in smaller fractions, things about investment, importance about investment? Your life revolves around finance and investment all the time. How do you plan to teach your child this?
The first thing I want to teach my child, and I think today our children are fortunate to grow up in an abundant India. My parents' generation grew up in an India of scarcity. The first thing I want to teach my child is the value of money. the value of the resources that he is born with, and the ability to make the most out of it. Because finally, investing also philosophically is the business of doing the best with resources in limited capital. So first I want to teach him gratitude and value for money. Then, as you said, I want to teach him how to save. And then I gradually want to talk about the fact that you have to money. We work very hard. Mom and dad work very hard, but money, and they earn money, but money also has to work hard for them. And how do you make money hard? And hopefully we can simplify concepts like mutual funds and stocks, and the fact that you buy small businesses and grow. But I think I'll figure that around the way. I don't have a formula just yet.
Said gratitude. Why is that important?
I think gratitude is very important because we live in a very consumerist age, and today, because of social media, children are focused so much. All of us actually on buying this or buying this Apple Live, 14 because some other friend bought it. I think it is important to realize that there's a certain amount that's enough. That you don't have to compare with people who have more than you, because there are so many people who have less than you. I think once you understand that there's a sense of enough, then you will learn to save. How will you learn to save if you don't have a sense of what is enough? Then there'll only be wants and needs.
Important do you think it is to help the kid establish a rapport with money, a relationship with money?
I think a relationship with money will start very soon, because your child will be a few years old, I'm not there yet, and will go to a store and will want to buy something. And you do it once, but you won't do it twice and the third time. And then you will have a conversation about why you can't buy, you know, 10 phones or 10 pieces, 10 bikes or whatever it is. So I think the relationship with money will start very, very early.
But then, do you think it's important to teach about financial goals and the importance of having goals in their life, not only financial, but then to have a life which is planned, the things that you want to achieve financially or even otherwise? How can you ensure, how can you get that in a daily habit for the kid?
I think planning is very important. Even, and it's not just about money. See,
Hmm.
I think I was a student, and I remember one of the things that my mother did with me as I grew up, school schedules are very demanding, their exams, their projects, and all of that. And she would have help me plan my week. Like, today, after you come from school, you're going to do this. This is what you're going to do. These are the projects you have. This is what you're going to plan. And that was a form of planning. And till date, the reason I'm able to manage the things I do, being a mom, being a CEO, running Amphi, all of that, I'm able to do it because of a certain amount of planning. So having goals, having timelines is very important. And I think that translates well to money. So again, I think if a child has for needs that are monitor money related, they have to be planned. That what do you want in 3 months? What do you want in 6 months? What do you want in one year? So I think planning can start very early. Planning is a good way to live life.
Your first money lesson that you remember?
My first money lesson, I remember when I was a child, I would see in the early 90s, तब तो physical shares होते थे.
Hmm.
My father would be investing, in shares, and he would write them down, and I would periodically look. The second money lesson is a phrase I heard a lot, जो यूपी में बहुत कहा जाता था, where I hail from, which is it's about value for money. My mother is a big value for money person. So the phrase was sasta, sundar or tikau. You should buy something that is cheap, something that lasts long, and something that is good. I guess it was value investing in the mother's language.
Interesting. Okay, tell me something about the concept of delayed gratification. You think it's important to teach your kids that, and how do you do it?
I think so. And I said, as I said, we live in an extremely consumerist society. So it is, we are often, some of us are fortunate enough that we can give our children a lot of what they want today. But I think the great thing about delayed gratification is if you plan a goal and you work towards it, it inculcates a sense of discipline. Say tell a child when they're a little grown up that a year later, I'm going to buy you this if you've done X, Y, Z things. Then there's a sense of motivation, there's a sense of goals, there's a sense of wanting to work towards something. And when you get it, there's a sense of achievement for working towards it. And it transitions, I think, very well towards the real world as they grow up.
Radhika, one thing, that usually happens in India, and especially if you talk about middle class families, they don't really discuss about earning more money. Do roti, kapda, makan. That is enough. How do you teach your kids that you can explore further, and for that you need to invest better?
I think we need to have conversations about money and about generally. I wrote something in my book about the importance of ambition and the importance of voicing ambition. हमारे यहाँ there are आपने रोटी कपड़ा मकान का you mentioned. There are also things like जितनी चादर है उतने पाँव फैलाओ. All of these things, and I think these are constraining thoughts. So I would like my child to grow up with the belief that they can accomplish anything, that there is a sense of ambition, because I really believe that India has limitless opportunities, no pun intended. Uh, and I would like my child to believe that investing enables dreams. I think in my case, I was able to save quite a bit in the early days of Wall Street after I started my first job. That enabled me to come back to India and do my startup, and then finally my whole journey went ahead from there. So investing is an enabler to dreams, and it is important to have large dreams and aspirations. And I think a healthy parental relationship is one way you can have those conversations about money. Sometimes they may be unpleasant also.
Question to you: what's the investment plan for Remy? Then have you all? I'm sure you're working on it. So, what's the asset allocation? How have you planned?
So we've got something very simple that we plan to start. We just got him all his docs, his Aadhaar card, his PAN card, everything is applied for a passport, even though that's not linked. And he's just opening a bank account. And we are going to start an SIP into an index fund. It's the Edelweiss Large and Mid Cap Index Fund. When I said this a bit a while ago, a lot of people told me saying that you're an active fund manager and you're investing in a passive fund. The reason is, he's a baby and we're going to invest for an 18-year horizon at least, or maybe 21 years till he turns old enough. And over that period, you don't know which AMC, which fund, which scheme will do well. So a simple index fund that's 50% large cap, 50% mid cap basically gets the growth of India, I think will solve most of his problems. So we're just going to start with an SIP into that. Eventually we'll build it. He has risk appetite because of time horizon. So I'm sure we may add some mid and small cap index fund. We are launching a couple, so we may add that. He probably will want to go abroad for his college education, and the currency does depreciate. I think the rupee was 40 when I went to Wharton, and now it's 80. So we may do an international fund, but that's all layering. I think we just started with a simple. We're going to start with a simple SIP into a large and mid cap index fund and take it from there.
So that's a good luck wish for Remy's portfolio. But then one last question, because since you mentioned starting his investment into index and going the passive way, why do you think investors are really picking up on passive investing now in India?
I hope it's, and we run the largest debt passive book in the country, launching a bunch of equity passives. I think it's a movement that's here to stay. I think people like the simplicity of the proposition. There are lots of outstanding passive products being launched. And I always say with active versus passive, there's no sort of debate. Both can go hand in hand. They're takers for both. Fine Italian cuisine and Pizza Hut or Domino's or whatever floats your boat. So I think both can go hand in hand. I think they're good products being manufactured. People like the simplicity of the proposition. And I think you can get everything from an international passive fund to a 15-year debt passive to a mid-cap momentum fund. So there's a lot of variety out there as well.
All right, that will be all. Thank you so much for being a part of this extremely special segment today on Children's Day, Radhika Gupta, and all the best to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, now with this, we slip into a short break, but then post that, let's talk about SIPs and let's get you your portfolio checked by Feroz Aziz. All of this after this break.